Good morning everyone, my name is Sarah Doherty and I'm the Marketing and Events Coordinator here at Hornbill. I'd like to welcome and thank you for joining today's webinar where we will be having a presentation on simplifying the challenges of modern ITSM with Hornbill Service Manager with Connor Hamilton, Product Specialist, and Manish Dave, Relationship Manager here at Hornbill. Just to inform you, Delegate Auto will be muted during the presentation to help facilitate flow and timekeeping. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the GoToMeeting question facility on the right-hand side of your screen. We will collate questions and answer them at the end of the presentation. Thank you for taking the time to attend. I will now pass you over to Connor and Manish.
Hi there everyone, thanks for joining our webinar today. Myself and Connor will be taking you through an overview of Hornbill Service Manager and how we've helped simplify the challenges of modern service management. I will begin by looking at some of the key challenges we've identified and addressed in Service Manager. Connor will then take you through a demo of the solution in action, and then I'll close by looking at our commercial offering, some of Hornbill's key differentiators, and our Supportworks to Service Manager migration package. So to begin with, Hornbill have been in the ITSM industry now for over 20 years. In that time, we've used our experience in the industry and we've looked at some of the challenges our customers have told us about that they face with their current system, Supportworks, which is the system all of our attendees are using today. And we've identified a number of key challenges, not just with Supportworks, but with other traditional ITSM software that's out there. The number one challenge that we hear about all the time is upgrades. They're an expensive, time-consuming process that can be quite painful. We often hear from customers who plan on upgrading Supportworks, but for one reason or the other, the project gets delayed, and before you know it, there's a wide gap between the version you're on to the latest version, causing a more complex, costly project. Supportworks is a traditional piece of on-premise software, whereby Hornbill will release a new version, you download it, you test it, and then you deploy it to a live environment. But the point here is that you have to stop what you're doing in order to upgrade. So we'll show you how we've made life a lot easier in Service Manager. Customization. The reason a lot of our customers bought Supportworks in the first place is because it is so customizable. However, that does come with a disadvantage because the more you customize a solution, the more difficult it becomes to support, and going back to my first point, upgrade, because those customizations often need to be re-implemented or reapplied at the point of an application upgrade. So again, we'll show you how we've addressed this area in Service Manager shortly. Complexity. So Supportworks is a very feature-rich, powerful tool, but it does require a high degree of knowledge and expertise, which of course leads to training, which can be time-consuming and costly. The situation we often hear about is where a Supportworks administrator or solution champion leaves an organization, and there's a gap in knowledge on the service desk because their replacement does not understand the tool or does not have the training on the system, and before you know it, there can be a mess on your service desk. So we've tried to address this area as well. Usability. So Supportworks is, as I said, a very powerful feature-rich tool, but I'm sure you'd agree if you compare it to the type of apps that you use outside of the office, it's not particularly intuitive by today's standards. For the most part, communication actually happens outside of Supportworks. So we'll be logging tickets in Supportworks, but we'll be speaking to colleagues, whether it's an email, a conversation by the water cooler, or an instant message to help us resolve problems. And that communication is effectively lost. It's not stored in Supportworks, and this is an area that we refer to as tacit knowledge, which we'll come onto shortly. Reporting is also seen as quite a challenging area in Supportworks. So all of what I've mentioned leads to a high total cost of ownership with upgrades, with consultancy, with training, with costs that you might not think about, such as the cost to host a server, the electricity costs, the cooling costs. And we're all looking at ways to make our spending more efficient. So Hornbill had a light bulb moment where we looked at the challenges that I mentioned that our customers are facing, and we looked at how the world has changed with the mobile and cloud revolutions, and we used that to create a collaboration platform that allows your teams and your colleagues to engage in a much more modern, intuitive way where information that matters to you comes to you. On our collaboration platform, various apps are available. Today we'll be focusing on Hornbill Service Manager, but we'll touch on a few of the other line of business apps that we have available too. These applications can work standalone or side by side to leverage each other. We've tried to innovate by marrying best practice service management with familiar social and consumer concepts to create a system that allows you to share knowledge and ideas, collaborate globally, get more done in less time and from anywhere. You can work across any device, be it a tablet, a mobile, a PC, a laptop. This is all browser-based. We also have native iOS and Android applications. You can work from anywhere with language no longer a barrier. So I mentioned earlier, for the most part in Supportworks, communication actually happens outside of the tool. You'll be logging a ticket in Supportworks, but you'll be asking questions of your colleagues to help you resolve that ticket, whether it's a conversation with a colleague, an email, an instant message, but that communication is effectively lost. It's not stored in Supportworks. And it's that type of knowledge that's difficult to document that we refer to as tacit knowledge. And we're going to show you how powerful that can be as we really try to tap into that in Service Manager. And Connor will show you that during our demo shortly. Tacit knowledge is in contrast to explicit knowledge, which is the type of documents that you might store in a knowledge base, such as FAQs, procedures, policies, that type of thing. And again, we'll show you how we've addressed that area and made it much simpler in Service Manager. So I mentioned earlier, Supportworks is a traditional piece of on-premise software. Hornbill will release a new version, you download it, you test it, and then you deploy it to a live environment. But the point being, you have to stop what you're doing in order to carry out the upgrade. Hornbill Service Manager is delivered as a native cloud application, a true service, which stays up to date all of the time using continuous deployment. Similar to Facebook or Google, you don't stop what you're doing to get new features, they're just automatically added to your system. What that means is there are no more complex and costly upgrades. All updates are automatic, so you're always up to date with the latest features without any service disruption, and customizations that keep on working guaranteed. So on that note, I will pass over to Connor to take you through Service Manager in action.
Thank you very much, Manish, and good morning, everybody. We've got a great turnout this morning, lots of people on here, so feel free to ask any questions in the GoToMeeting or the GoToWebinar chat or question section, and we will address them at the end. This will be a high-level overview, so if there are any, if you did want to have a look in a bit more detail, we've got the sandbox to have a play around with, but let your relationship manager know and we can set up more of a one-to-one demo if you need to. Right, so this is Service Manager. We're going to have a look at the 3 different portals. It's all web-based, as Manish mentioned, so you can access it through any browser. We're going to have a look at the 3 different entries into the system, the self-service, the analyst portal and the administration portal. I'm going to be using Chrome in this situation, and I'm going to start with the self-service portal. I'm currently logged in as a gentleman called Steve Robinson. Steve Robinson uses this as his business portal, and I say business portal because Service Manager is equally at home in facilities and HR as it is in IT. So a customer, any customer in a business, can use this portal as his one-stop shop for whatever the question might be. We can set up single sign-on. We use the SAML 2 protocol, so your users and analysts can jump straight on without having to put any password in. And as you can see, the first thing you see when you first log in are the bulletins flashing across the top on a carousel wheel. These will only be shown for the user depending on the services that they are subscribed to. All of the text, all of the images, all of the colors can easily be customized in the administration tool, so you can have it looking exactly as you want it to be. And as you can see, the services themselves that each user is subscribed to are clearly shown with the nice big clear icons directly beneath the carousel wheel at the top there. We have tabs, again, to try and keep this as easy as possible for the customers to find what they're after. So if I start right to left, all my services that this user is currently subscribed to are shown there. There's a brief summary, but we can expand that to see a bit more detail if we want to, and obviously click into the active request and obviously make a request against that particular service, whatever it may be. We have icons in the top right and left of some of these services. In the top left, it will show you this service is currently impacted, and as you can see, we can put a message underneath to let the customers know. Well, in this case, there'll be an update here at 4 o'clock. So just to keep the customers informed before they get in touch with the service desk to ask for an update. The top right will show the customer, the logged in user, how many active requests they have against that particular service. And we've recently introduced an All My Requests tab as well, so the customer can easily see all of the tickets across all of the services in one long list. So all of these we can sort on and filter if we want to. And there's even a notification to mention, in this case, there are 2 requests awaiting customer feedback from this particular user. If we want to see the impacted services, again, there is a tab. These tabs will only appear if there are services that are actually impacted. And if you did want to use the active requests per service, it might be easier to find. We have the active tab as well. And if the customer is a big favourite, is a big user of the portal, wants to set up these particular services as their favourite, so they see them first when they first log in, each user can set up their own favourites. There is a search, a federated search, so this will only search through the items that the logged in user is entitled to see. But if the user is new, don't know where to go, they could type in, let's say, mobile. I know they're in mobile service right there, but hypothetical situation, if the user didn't know where to go, they can search for mobile and it will come back broken up into FAQs, catalogues, requests and services. So from there, obviously if the user wants a new mobile device, they can click straight on the catalogue item and it will go straight in and ask them what type of phone they want. Obviously that is completely up to you what gets asked and when it gets asked. So another hypothetical situation is Steve is working from home and he's having a problem connecting to the VPN. We've already seen on the carousel wheel that there is an issue with the VPN service, and we can see, in fact there it is, there's a service availability issue, and there is an icon on the top left and it's shown under the impacted tab to say this service is currently impacted. So straight away, before Steve gets in touch with the service desk, he knows there is an issue. Not only that, because there is an issue, the service desk have published a workaround to the self-service portal, which Steve can try before he gets in touch with the service desk, and hopefully that will fix his problem and then carry on with his day. There is a Me Too button, so Steve can still let the service desk know that he has been impacted by this particular known issue, and by clicking that, Steve doesn't then need to log another ticket, the service desk doesn't then have another ticket to manage, yet the service desk can see that this many people have been affected by this particular known issue, and Steve will be included on any communication about this particular known issue. Moving across, if Steve wanted to find out a bit more service-specific information, the service owner can publish whatever kind of information they want to via the Frequently Asked Questions tab. So this could take the form of videos, hyperlinks, text, completely up to you what you want to display, and Steve can come in and say, yeah, that was helpful, and see how many times it's been viewed. All of which will obviously be stored in the database so it can be reported on if you want to. Any active requests, and obviously that notification to say there is one there awaiting customer feedback from Steve. And if Steve still wanted to make a request, we have split out the different options for this particular service into 3 catalogue items. Request a callback, request the VPN client setup, and there is an issue with the VPN access. All 3 of these may potentially ask a different set of questions. They may potentially kick off a different business process once it's logged. They may even be different call classes. The VPN access might log an incident, whereas request a callback might log a service request. The end user doesn't need to know that. They know, well, in this case, Steve has an issue with the VPN, so Steve would just simply click the relevant catalogue item. So I'll carry on. We have an issue with our VPN. What is the issue you're experiencing? So as you can see, it's very concise, it's very quick and easy for the customer to let you guys know what's going on with that customer. So what's the issue you're experiencing? Connection dropping, details, cannot connect. Contributing factors, no issues with broadband, broadband is dropping out. So there's no issue with broadband, it's something to do with the VPN. Assets, we can import assets from any kind of system management tool, SCCM, Citero, Landsweeper is very common nowadays. Whichever system you use, we can easily import from. In this particular situation, this will give the end user on the portal the ability to link the assets that he owns. Steve, in this case, he has this particular laptop, so it's probably something to do with that laptop that this VPN issue is happening. If he wants to find a shared asset across the site, he can. So a shared printer, for example, it wouldn't be linked directly to Steve, but he might still use it and therefore log a ticket against it. But in this case, we'll keep with the laptop. There's a brief breadcrumb trail on the right-hand side, and it will come back with IN for incident and a reference number. And as you can see there is the heads-up display across the top, and this is up to you whether you want the customer to be able to see this on the self-service portal or not. but the customer can then at a glance see what's happened and what needs to happen as part of this, resolving this ticket. All the details that have been provided are all in collapsible panels directly beneath the heads-up display, and the timeline again is at the bottom, all on the one page. There's no clicking between tabs. You only ever see what you need to see based on what's there. There are no attachments, for example. If there was an attachment, there'll be an extra attachments collapsible panel. So this ticket we just logged, and you can see it's already been assigned to the first line support team, and Steve will have received an email confirmation to say that has been logged with the reference number and any other details that you guys decide to share with Steve at this point. If Steve wants to update it, he can. If he wants to attach a log file or attach a screenshot, whatever the case may be, again, absolutely no problem at all. So that is the self-service side of things. As you can see, it's very simple, very quick and easy for the customer to get in touch with you guys, whatever the question may be. So I'm going to flip over now to the analyst side first of all, and I'm logged in as a gentleman called Graham. I'm going to zoom in a tiny bit because find the plus button. There we go. So it's a bit easier to see. Now this is the news feed. This is what each analyst will see when they first log in, and very similar to the self-service portal, each user will receive a tailored experience. So they'll only see what they're interested in. In this case, on the self-service, they'll only see what they're subscribed to. Each analyst can join their own workspace on the right-hand side, and therefore each news feed when they first log in may be, or most likely will be, different. But I'll come back to this bit. Before I get into the service configuration, I just want to quickly point out that incident that we just logged on the self-service portal is shown in the notifications bit because Graham is part of the first line support team, so he can click straight into that incident if he wants to, and he can receive that notification on his phone, via email, or obviously within the tool like this. So I'm going to focus on the service configuration very first to start with. Now, the home working service was the one that we logged ticket against on the self-service portal. So this is where we configure that particular service, and it's all pretty standard request catalog stuff. This particular service is in the catalog status, so it's available to be consumed from. These three users are currently subscribed to consume from this service, but if you wanted to subscribe the entire company, a particular department, all internal, all external, everyone, that's completely up to you. We can also limit who can support this particular service. So again, this will provide a automatic partition. So if you have facilities or HR may have sensitive data, for example. By limiting who can actually work with this service and who can support this service, all the IT teams wouldn't be able to see anything HR related, for example, or in this particular situation, HR won't be able to see anything IT related, and that's all automatic out of the box without any need for consultancy or anything like that. We can make it a bit more private if we want to by specifying an owner and saying that the access is private. That will mean that the service, the reports, any searches won't show up anything to do with this service for a member of staff from the HR team, for example. It's visible on the portal, and as we saw on the portal, this service is currently impacted. Now, the magic will happen under the Request Configuration tab. Now, as you can see, to start off with, it's broken up into the different call classes. So we'll go first to last, and under the incident, we can log one catalog item, which will log an incident, and that's the VPN access catalog item, which is the one we just logged. The configuration of that particular catalog item, we can ask whichever set of questions we want to. We call that the progressive capture engine, and whichever process we want to kick off, again, we can. We can specify whether it's visible on only the analyst side, only the end user side, or both. If you guys have multiple languages in your organization, and you want to translate this into, let's see what languages we've got available, Modern Hebrew. You can simply select it, hit the translate button, and there it is. I trust that's correct. Hopefully, well, yes, it's as easy as that. It's as easy as that is my point. We can specify customer feedback, again, per service, per call class. So for the incident, any resolved VPN access issues, we'll be asking the end user on the portal, are you happy with how long it took to respond to your request? How would you rate the support representative's knowledge? Please share any ideas. So all three of these are different types. Two of them are mandatory, and we can enable the star rating as well, and obviously when it expires. Under the service request, very, very similar. We haven't got any customer feedback set up in this particular situation, but we have 2 catalogue items. Again, each one will ask its own set of questions and its own process. Your fulfillment process, whatever process you want to happen per catalogue item. Any active requests that have been logged against this service are shown under the Request tab. Any assets that may underpin this service are shown under the Assets tab. The frequently asked questions that we saw on the self-service portal per service are shown and configured under the FAQs tab, and we can see at a glance how many likes, dislikes, and how many views it's had. The bulletins that flash across the top on the carousel wheel are all configured here under the Bulletins tab, and this is a relatively new feature. It's actually an extra layer to the existing service level agreements functionality, and this is where we set up particular rules. We can link those rules to services so that when a user logs a ticket across the system, whether it be via a portal, whether an analyst logs it for them, these rules will kick in and have a look at the particular situation and assign the relevant priority automatically, so that there's less room for bias, if you will. It might be slightly different from an analyst on a Monday morning than it would be on a Friday afternoon. So with these rules, you can be guaranteed it's right every time. One last thing on here, again, this is a slightly different application, but it all ties in very nicely. This is the configuration manager. So this will show you the links throughout the entire system for the record that we're looking at. So in this particular service, this home working service, we have lots of tickets and we have 2 assets. So if I clear down the noise a little bit and I get rid of the requests, so we're only looking at the assets that are underpinning this particular service, we can see that this home working service depends on that and this particular asset. If we want to see the impact from there, we can expand further if we wanted to, and we can set bidirectional dependency as well by simply clicking on the dependency. So that you'll see across the system, this little icon in the top right, that'll be on tickets, users, services. You'll see it in various places across the system. So I'm going to flip across to the administration portal now, and again, this is all web-based. Lovely and clear to see. Only the administrators will be seeing this, but the bit I want to focus on is what happens when a ticket is logged and before a ticket is logged, gathering the information to be able to work on that ticket without having to chase the customer for more information. I'm going to start on the business process side of things, and let's take the incident process in this case. So first things first, you'll see it's all graphical. It's all lovely and easy to see what's going on. It's all drag and drop. So at that particular point, if I wanted an authorization, it's as simple as that to set up. In this particular process, all of the blue nodes are automated tasks. So it'll probably be in this, and there are 3 stages. So it'll probably be the second stage where an analyst will actually have to do something manually, maybe a task or authorization, or whatever the case may be, whatever you guys have set up. But one of the best things about this particular engine, unlike Supportworks, where you have to have a response time and a fixed time on every call, an email can only be sent when an action happens, whether it be logged, updated, resolved, whatever the case may be. With this system, it's up to you how you want the process to work. If you don't want a timer at all, you don't have to have one. If you want to wait for an analyst to pick it up before an email gets sent, that's absolutely fine. So in this particular situation, as soon as it gets logged, an email gets sent to the customer, he gets assigned to the first line support team, and then the system checks, is there a priority on this ticket? If there is, we start the timer. If not, we wait for an analyst to pick up the ticket. We wait for an analyst to provide a priority, and once they have, that's when the timer starts. So obviously the benefit for you guys is you can work the way you want to work. It's completely up to you. It's a blank canvas. There are example processes that ship out of the box, and obviously with the free implementation, we will help you build a couple of processes. Well, obviously the focus will be giving you the tools to be able to go away and build what you want and tweak where you need to. So that is a good example. Another very good example is the change process. So I'll click into that. Now again, there are multiple stages, but the one I want to show you is the second stage, the planning stage. So a request will come in, it will get to the second stage, and there'll be an impact assessment. So whether it be the change owner or the analyst owning the ticket, will assess the impact of this particular change request. There are 3 outcomes, high, medium or low. They're completely definable. You can have as many or a few as you want. If it's high or medium, we need a backup plan, and both of these will eventually come back, gather some more details and go to authorization, whereas if it's low impact, it will carry on straight down to the authorization stage. The authorization in this particular situation is made up of 3 named users, each with 100% weighting. So this could be the cab, and whoever gets there first will authorize a request against this particular process. Again, definable outcomes, and we can have this expire if it, well, in this case it's only 2 minutes, but if it goes on for 2 days or whatever the case may be, it can then expire. If this is a manager, we can pass through variables from this record, so the manager is fully informed of what they're authorizing. So potentially, you know, the IT manager could be authorizing requests on the golf course. But again, as I say, there is an expiry built in. So in this, if we carry the flow down, it will delegate authorization if, for whatever reason, the relevant manager can't authorize, and then again it could take potentially the same process as it would have done if the original person had authorized. So as you can see, it's very, very flexible. It's up to you how complex you want to make this. You can make this as complex as you want, or as simple as you want, and if you don't want to use process at all, you don't have to. It's completely up to you how you want to use this, but the tools are all there to give you the best opportunity. So the flip side of logging a ticket is obviously gathering the information. Probably the best example is the new request, progressive capture. So this is again graphical, lovely and easy to see what's going on. But the focus of this is gathering all the information that you guys need to be able to deal with this request without having to chase the customer for further information. So each blue node is basically a question. We try to take a leaf out of your favorite consumer application. So we realise that anybody should be able to walk in off the street and book a holiday online or find car insurance online without any training required. One question at a time, decision-based system, so the user will only ever see what they need to see based on their previous answer. So as you can see here, based on the answer to this first question, you will go down one particular route, and then based on the answers to the second questions, again, it could branch off in a multiple directions. So it could ask for request category, priority, asset details. It could be a finance-related question, in which case we can ask reference number, type of query, date of invoice or PO. It could be a new starter-related question. It could be a facilities-related question. It's completely up to you what you want to ask, when you want to ask it. And again, you can make this as complex or as simple as you want. It's completely up to you what you want to ask and when. So let's have a look at that in action. If I go back to the analyst side of things, first of all, before I go to the request side of things, we've looked at logging a ticket from the self-service portal, but you can, if you want to, tie in a share mailbox, and obviously a user can send an email in, and the user can, also the analyst can pick it up from the mailbox and log a ticket straight from the mail, or we can have the system automatically pick up an email based on a preset bit of logic, so the from address, the to address, the subject, whatever the case may be, and have that automatically log or update a ticket. So that's another option there, but the more standard way is obviously a user ringing up or walking up and an analyst logging straight from the service manager front screen here. Now this is the request list in this case, so very similar to the service list view in Supportworks. In this case, we're looking at all of Graham's incidents, but Graham has the right to see all of these different call classes. Everything in Service Manager is rights driven, so you only ever see what you need to see based on your rights. If you didn't have the right to see changes, you wouldn't see that at all. Nothing's ever greyed out or unclickable. So if you want to see all of Graham's tickets, regardless of call class, we can. Graham may be a member of different teams, so if you want to see all of the changes in the change team, there they are. Or if you wanted to see all of the tickets in all of Graham's teams, there they are. It's very, very easy to see what you want to see. We have a quick filter in the top left, so if we wanted to look for all VPN related tickets, we could type in VPN and there are all the VPN related tickets. If we wanted to see all the tickets where Brian is the owner, we can type in Brian and there are all the tickets where Brian is the owner. So we can search in all of this data, so we can quickly sort through lots of information. But there may be a need for a more permanent view. So active high priority incidents is probably a very common view on a service desk. So at the click of a button, there they are. But as you may know with Supportworks, if you wanted to build that kind of view into your service desk view, you would need to know where to go. You would need to know a bit about the database, so you need to know what to filter on. So we've tried to take that complexity away. As you can see, priority is high, request type is instant, status is open. It's very, very easy to build. Each analyst can build their own views if they want to. We can also share these views, which we'll come to in a second. But just to show you how simple this is, There's no SQL knowledge needed, there's no database knowledge needed, so let's say the owner is Graham. And there it is, very easy to build and very easy to remove as well. So as I mentioned, once you have your view, maybe you're the service desk manager and you want your team to see this particular view, you can then share this. So in this case, the first line support team manager maybe has shared this with their team. We can share it with an individual user or everybody who supports a particular service if we want to. What we could also do off the back of these is set up a chart. So looking at those active high priority incidents, we might want to see where they're currently sat by team. So we can see 20 of those are in the first line support team, 3 are in the second line. We might want to see who owns those active high priority incidents. So we can see 7 of them don't have an owner at all. Why not? So information that might not be as easy to see on a request list as it is through a graph, it's very easy to set these up. And again, each analyst can set up their own views, and what that will give them is this button in the top right of the request list to switch to my personal dashboard. If I click on that, that will show you the same information as the request list, but in a graphical way. And as I say, each analyst can create their own view, so we can drag these, we can make them bigger or smaller. It's completely up to each analyst how they want to see them. But most importantly, let's have a look at this high priority incidents one again. If we want to see Daniel Matthews' 7 high priority incidents, we can click straight into that graph, and there they are, those Daniel's 7 high priority incidents. At any point we can export the list, and that will go straight into CSV, which you can then do what you want with. We can flip back to our home view at any point, or we can set the view that we're looking at as our current home view. But very similar to Supportworks, we can also click and sort on any of these columns. And if we wanted to change the columns, there is a button in the top right to customize columns. And let's say we want to see when it needs to be resolved by, and we want to see that second. We can even distinguish between the columns that we see on a tablet or a phone or a small screen by simply clicking that button there. So if we hit save, that resolved by a button is now second. Oh, sorry, column is now second. So that is the managing of the tickets. If we wanted to log a ticket, and again, a piece of feedback we've heard quite a lot from Supportworks is that if a customer rings up, let's say Steve is ringing right now, with Supportworks we may open an incident form and we ask, okay, who's calling? We fill in Steve's details, we ask what you're calling about, Steve, and he tells us, and we realise that's not an incident, that's actually a service request. So at that point, do we ask Steve to repeat himself? Do we copy the details out and paste it into a service request form? It's a common problem. So if we know that Steve is calling about an incident, we can log an incident directly. But if we don't, if Steve is on the phone, we have no idea who's calling or what he's calling about, we have this raise new button. So we can click that raise new button and we can say who's calling, it's Steve. We have a summary on the right hand side. Are we talking to the right Steve? Yes. Are you calling about an active request, Steve? If so, here's an update. If not, we hit next. So as you can see, it's one question at a time. These are all the services that Steve is currently subscribed to. So if there are catalogue items underneath, we can click on the relevant catalogue item, that will go away, ask its own set of questions and kick off its own fulfillment process. In this particular situation, I'm going to go with the desktop support service. There is an issue, let's say with this VPN issue. Just type in VPN. So as you can see, one question at a time. Now at that point we know who's calling, the service he's calling about and what he's calling about. So at that point we then have enough information to classify this particular request, whatever it might be. So the decision-based system in action, if I say this is a change and hit next, we're asked to upload a document. We can click back on the breadcrumb trail on the right hand side, or we can click the previous button. Both will do the same thing, and we say no, actually this is not a change, this is an incident. Hit next and we're asked a different question or a different set of questions potentially. So again, the user, whether it be the analyst or the self-service portal, will only ever see what they need to see based on their previous answer. So this is the analyst, so we're asked to provide a priority. And again, if Steve wants to link an asset, so we already know it's something to do with his laptop. And if we wanted to search the entire CMDB for the finance printer, which again wouldn't be linked directly to Steve, we can also log a ticket for that as well. So we hit finish, we have a very brief summary on the right hand side, as you can see in the background there, and again it will come back with a reference number, prefixed with IN for incident, but you can prefix that with whatever you want. Let me have a look at the tickets. And we can see via the heads up display, so we just logged this. Steve has just left the phone. We have already sent an email. We've already assigned it to the first line support team, and we've already set a priority. So that timer is already ongoing. And we can see because Steve's a VIP, the rule builder for the service level agreements has already classified this particular priority accordingly. So the analyst in this case doesn't need to do anything. This is all automatic. All of that has already happened. We haven't allocated an analyst yet, so the system is prompting whoever opens this ticket to assign either themselves or another member of that team. So I'm logged in as Graham, and we can easily see the status there. So looks like Graham is the only person actually online anyway. So I'll pick it up as Graham, assign it to Graham. The analyst allocated checkpoint has been ticked. We've moved to the second stage of the process, and we've been assigned a task to resolve this desktop issue. So as you can see, all of that is automatic. Unfortunately, there is still some manual intervention. If we wanted to type in an update, we can apply it just there, and that will go into the timeline in chronological order, all on the one page. There's no tabs flicking between pages or anything like that. If we wanted to share a screenshot, unlike Supportworks, we can simply take a screenshot and paste that straight into the ticket. So there's no downloading, saving files, uploading files. And we can say, okay, Steve, here is a screenshot. This is what I'm seeing. Are you seeing the same thing? So Steve can then pick up that image on the self-service portal or the mobile, however he wants to see that information, without having to flick through different programs or open other tabs, whatever the case may be. Nowadays, we have resources like Google and YouTube available to us that we didn't have 20 years ago. So this particular ticket, we logged a VPN issue. So we can pass any of these variables straight through to a Google via the custom button at the top. We can just click of a button and search Google for a VPN issue, whatever it might be. Nowadays, people might prefer to watch a video rather than read a PDF or a long set of instructions. Whoa, excuse me, I wasn't expecting to be quite that loud. So the point being, we can share that video. We can take either the abbreviated URL across the bottom or the long one across the top, and we can paste that straight into the ticket, and we say, okay, Steve, I think this will solve your issue. Have a watch that video. I'm not going to play it again, but that will play straight from the ticket. We don't have to open YouTube or click onto other tabs. And again, Steve can pick that up on his mobile if he wants to. We can also search the internal knowledge base just to see if anything has been logged or noted about that particular issue before as well. And as you can see, there are lots of other options. We can schedule a callback. We can attach a file. We can drag and drop, or we can go via the old-fashioned way. We can link requests. We can send emails, we can look at the customer, we can assign, we can add in connections, which is a relatively new feature, and again was relatively limited on Supportworks. It is possible, but it would involve customization in Supportworks. If there was another customer impacted by the exact same thing, we can add that customer in so that the service desk only has the one ticket to manage, but they know that there are multiple customers affected by this particular issue, whatever it might be. There are different levels of this as well, so an interested party, it could be a manager of the team, of the requester, wants to see how that particular request is getting on, let's say, or it could even be a secretary on behalf of the CEO. So there are lots of options, and again, just drop them in, and the email then can be, we can include all of those interested parties in any communication about this ticket. Escalations, assets, boards, I'm going to come back to in a bit more detail. Resolve, cancel, the configuration explorer that we saw on the service, and printing, very essential option nowadays. Subject matter expert can easily be added in. So again, this is the collaboration call that Manish referred to in the presentation. If we wanted to drop a subject matter expert in to have a look at this particular request and just to get her opinion, let's say Rosemary, who is the change manager, Rosemary can be added in as a member. Because Rosemary's been added in, as the change manager, she might not have the rights to see incidents, but because Graham has added Rosemary in as a member, her rights have been elevated to see this particular incident. So there's no messing around with the rights and the roles or anything like that. And then from there, Graham can tag Rosemary. Rosemary, can you look at this? Rosemary will then get a notification, whether it be on a phone, via email, or via the in-app notifications, and Rosemary can come in and comment and say yep or nope, whatever the case may be. We have also automatically been assigned a task, as per the process. We can add them on the fly if we want to. But in this case, we've already been automatically assigned. Now, this particular task could go to the owner. It could go to another team. It could go to another user. If I edit this, we can see what's possible. We can assign it. It needs to start on a particular date and time. It's due by a particular date and time. We can add a checklist, or we can attach a file. I quite like the add checklist bit. Let's say this is going to the networks team, and we know as part of this process, the networks guys need to do 1 and 2, whatever that might be. So we can save that. The networks guys can pick this up in various formats. It could be on their phone. Again, it could be out on the move. Obviously, it's SaaS. You can access this anywhere, anytime. But the network guys come in and say, right, I've done one of these 2 things. Graham then has a progress bar to see how far through the network guys are with that particular task. So rather than having to chase the network guys for further information, he can see at a glance how far through they are. So as you can see, lots and lots of options. The timesheet bit is another application again. And as you can see here, there are different options for each analyst. If you wanted to record time, this is currently a free application because it's brand new. It's in beta stage. So any feedback, if you want to try it, is more than welcome. But there are a couple of different options. If you wanted to start a stopwatch near enough, that will just go through and see how much time we've spent updating this particular ticket, and you can put that on whichever action you want to. Or alternatively, you can pause that, and we go in and we say 1 hour I've spent on this, and then that will go into the timesheet manager, which we can then report on, or the manager can report on if we want to. Any update, we can choose whether we want to share it with the customer on the portal or keep it internally within the team. And one other thing on here, if we wanted to search for, well, this is a VPN issue, if we want to see if there are any problems related to VPN, we can type in VPN in the search for requests. So within a ticket, we can search the other tickets that are currently active or inactive. So as you can see, some of these are actually closed. When we can filter that back based on the type of instance, we're looking for a problem and we're looking for an open problem. So if I search again, we can also limit it by a service as well. But this particular case, there is one open problem, so I can link that with this VPN incident that we just logged. And you can see, because there is a workaround against that problem, a solution icon has appeared that the analyst can then have a look at the issue and say, yep, this will solve the problem, or no, that's not quite the solution for this particular incident. So I'll say, no, that's not the solution in this case. So what I'm going to go and have a look at a couple of other features within Service Manager. First of all, we have a change calendar. If you guys are using changes, this is a forward / change just so we can see what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. We can click into them, providing we have the rights. And the other feature that I was keen to show you is this concept of boards. So again, talking about change management, I'll keep the change management board. This is a bird's eye view or a helicopter view of all of the changes that are currently in flight within a particular process. So in this case, we split out the change process into different process stages. All of the changes that have been logged against this process will be automatically added to this board. So if you're an IT manager or a service delivery manager, there might be many things that you need to look after. So this is a very easy way to see what's going on and what status, what stage they're currently at each change. So all of these, we can drag and drop them if we want to, but we tend to recommend that you let the process take care of this for you. So once a change has been logged and it's been worked on, it will go to the cab as we try in that process. It will get approved, and once it's been approved, it will get scheduled in. So automatically, once those process stages get hit, it will automatically move across the board. So at any point, an IT manager or a service delivery manager can click in and see an accurate representation of where everything is at any particular point in time. All of the changes, well, if they have an owner, the owners are specified on the right-hand side of the ticket and at the top. So we can click on, let's say, Daniel. In this case, we can click on Daniel, and that will limit the view to only show Daniel's requests on that board. This is the change management board, so there are other ways of using this, completely up to you how you want to use this. But another good one is the breach board. So that last one was running off the process. The process was taking care of the moving across the board. In this breach board, this is the timer, the SLA running against each ticket that is taking care of this. So each incident, as it goes across, will obviously breaching today, breaching in 2 hours, breaching in 30 minutes. And once they've been breached, we can see the incidents. We can click straight into those. We can see who the owners are. So we can click on, I'm not going to click on myself. We can click on Daniel and see, okay, that incident, why is that breached? Or why is this one about to breach? So lots and lots of different options. We use it internally for development, problem management, procurement, another good example. Someone wants a new iPhone, it needs to go to a manager for approval. If they do approve it, it will get ordered and delivered. So again, the process can move that across for you. So if you're in procurement or something to do with the budget, you can easily see how things are going on this board. Assets, we can import assets, as I mentioned, from any particular source. We have an open import script that will sit on your server, on your network somewhere, so we can link with your database, whatever database that might be, and you can then schedule that to run every day, week, month, year, whatever you want to via Windows Task Scheduler. So it's completely within your control. Once they're in, if we just have a look at computer system, and let's have a look at that one, whatever that is a laptop in this case. So this can all be automatically imported, and as you can see, we can link these with users and with tickets. So there are lots of bits of information. It's up to you what types you want and what information you want to store per type. So the standard kind of fields, financial information, disposal, depreciation, you only ever see what you need to see based on what's actually imported or what's actually there in the database. Because this is a computer system, we have also got additional computer properties, so hardware, operating system information, etc., etc. If it's a mobile, it will be IMEI or SIM number or whatever the case may be. We can add documents or attachments. Any linked requests or any linked assets are also shown on there. We have an automatic audit trail, so the history behind everything that's happened on this particular asset, what's changed, when it changed, who changed it. If there are lots of changes, we can search through the history as well if we want to. So lots and lots of options there. And very similar to the Google and YouTube on an incident form, we can add in custom buttons to this particular asset form as well. So these custom buttons are simply a URL that we can pass a variable through to. So a good example here is TeamViewer. With TeamViewer, so I don't have TeamViewer set up, so I won't go into that. But we can jump straight onto that particular asset by opening TeamViewer and passing through a variable on this particular record through to TeamViewer. Another good example is Satiro or Landsweeper, so it's very common. It's a web-based system management tool, so we can pass the ID of that asset through to Satiro or Landsweeper, and we can look at the finer details of that asset on the web front end of the system management tool. So lots and lots of things we can do there. I'm going to quickly talk about the collaborative core very, very quickly. So what's happening here is the information the logged in user is interested in is coming to the logged in user. So Graham, as we've seen, has an interest in change management. So we can see at a glance that change 200 has just been approved by the CAB. It's also been successfully implemented and the change reviews can be complete, so that's been resolved, no further action required. And this could be various different aspects of the system. So we've got documents, we've got more changes, major incidents. Graham's following this particular incident. So if we click into incident 93, we can see Graham is not the customer, he's not the owner, but he has a vested interest in this particular ticket for whatever reason, and any updates will go to his newsfeed because he's following this particular ticket. So just by clicking that button, any update to this record will be pushed to Graham's newsfeed. Now, as you may have seen already, all of this has been sorted into different workspaces. All of the workspaces are here on the right, so these are the ones that Graham is currently interested in. There could be lots more, but Graham is only interested in these ones, so it's only an updates to these workspaces that we push to his newsfeed. The benefit of this is highlighted very well in the first line FAQs workspace. James is in the first line team. He has been asked a question and he's not sure what's going on, so he's asking the question in this first line FAQs workspace, and then subject matter experts are coming back in, regardless of language, answering the question. The other members of this workspace have validated Pablo's answer. In this case, there are two answers. So in a year's time, if I had the same problem or the same type of question, I could search through the workspaces, find this post, and I'll probably go with Pablo's answer in a year's time because 4 people have validated that bit of knowledge. So as I mentioned, one of the benefits of this, and as Manish mentioned at the start, is by asking and answering this questions in this open workspace collaborative way, this information is being captured. So if I copy that through Soft VPN, we have the global search at the top. We can paste that in, search through all the workspaces, and we have 11 search results. That could be more in a year's time. We can then filter it back based on the date it was posted, who posted it, and the workspace it was posted in. So I'll just copy that from the first line FAQs. If I search again, that is the post that we've just copied from. So that information is being captured, unlike, as Manish mentioned, in Supportworks where it gets lost in an email box or a subject matter expert's head. Now, the flip side of that unstructured knowledge is the document manager. So this is an area for more structured knowledge. So as you can see, Word documents, PDFs, you can create your own documents if you want to. This is addressing all of those network shares with the dodgy naming conventions. You're not 100% sure if that document is the latest. Because it's all in the central place, you know it's the latest. And each document, there are lots of things we can do. We can share each document, give different users different rights. We can keep a timeline, so we can see exactly what's happened on this particular document. We can keep revisions of the document, so we can open each version and then publish the one that we want to publish when we're ready to publish it. We can keep activities, we can keep tags, we can keep review dates, lots and lots of things that we can do with this. These document tags we can search for in the global search. So if I type in change, that will then go away and search the document manager, and that's our document that we're just looking at. And we've also introduced a tag cloud, which will put all of the tags in your system into a graphical format. The ones that use the most are the biggest, and our change management process, there it is at the top. We can click into all of these and see the documents underneath as well if you want to. So that is Service Manager from the analyst side of things. As I say, if there are any questions, feel free to type in the questions section or get in touch with your relationship manager. We can have more of a one-to-one demo. That's absolutely fine as well. But I'm going to leave you with the administration side and the reporting side in particular. So as you've probably seen already, there are 3 different levels of reporting. The first one was those graphical dashboards which each analyst can set up themselves. We have the more powerful reporting engine, which if you wanted to, you can get in and go, join tables and filter on particular columns and, do all that technical stuff if you want to. We've also got this third level of advanced analytics, and this involves 4 different levels. Firstly, we have the trending engine, whereby we set a measure, let's say incidence log per month and incidence close per month. We set a target, and then this will go away. In this case it's a month, but it could be daily, as you can see, or yearly, or whatever the case may be, and it will compare the results in the database against the target that you've set, and it will give you a RAG scoreboard, so you can see exactly how you're doing against your target. There is even a spark line, so you can see a rough trend of how you're doing against your target. Once you have your measures, you can then put them into widgets, and a widget is a bit of information, so there are lots and lots of different types. If we have a look at this one, this is a chart. So this is an annual comparison of monthly tickets raised. And once you have your widgets, you can then put them onto dashboards. So if we have a look at the service desk overview, sounds like a good one. Dashboard is made up of many different widgets. Each of these widgets you can then grant access to particular users. So again, this is kind of a new way of getting information to managers, let's say. We can grant access to that particular manager or that particular role or that particular group. So rather than emailing a PDF each week or whatever the case may be, just give them the URL and they can look whenever they want to. Very, very simple. And then once we have that, we can put many dashboards into a slideshow. So there are lots and lots of different slideshows here, dashboards, and this will link together nicely into a slideshow. That will flip around every 10 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever you want to. This could be on a screen above the service desk, or it could be part of a meeting. It's completely up to you how you want to use that. So that's everything from me. I'm going to pass you back to Manish to finish off quickly, and I think we've had a few questions, so I'll quickly read through those. Manish, over to you.
Thanks, Connor. That was a great demo. As Connor said, please do continue to ask your questions. We will address those at the end of the session. So I'm going to finish now by looking at some of Hornbill's key differentiators, our Supportworks to Service Manager migration package, and our commercial offering. So I'd like to share with you our core values as a company with you. First of all, customer first. We're committed to working with our customers and being responsive to your needs. Partnership through collaboration. We work in partnership with our customers and value the feedback that you provide, whether it's through our forums, through our user groups, or any other interaction with us. And quality, not compromise. We aim to be world-class in everything we do, whether it's our people, our processes, or our technology. And for the reason of quality, not compromise, we actually offer no fixed-term contract with Hornbill Service Manager, which I'll come on to shortly. So we're doing something quite different from other vendors in our industry. We want you to be 100% satisfied that this system is right for you, whether it's your reporting requirements, your business process requirements, your language requirements, whatever it may be. So for that reason, we offer a 100% risk-free 30-day satisfaction guarantee. What that means is you put us to the test. We'll give you your own instance of Service Manager free of charge for 30 days. You can try it out in your own environment with your own data and your own integrations. On top of that, we will assign a product specialist to you who will work with you to configure the system your way, again, free of charge. Your product specialist will train you up on the solution to give you the knowledge and expertise you need to manage the system going forward. And at the end of that 30-day period, the choice is yours. You can either start subscribing or walk away without obligation. The reason we offer this free of charge 30-day trial and implementation is so you can make an informed decision about whether this system is right for you without any risk. So how does Hornbill stand out from the crowd? First and foremost, as I mentioned earlier, this is a true cloud-based application. It's a service, not a traditional piece of on-premise software. What that means is all updates are automatic, there are no more upgrades, your customizations keep on working, guaranteed. You're always up to date with the latest features without any service disruption. You concentrate on service delivery, let Hornbill take care of the rest. Price for life. This is a guarantee that we offer our customers whereby the pricing level you sign up to will stay the same for the entire length of time you're a customer. So if we raise our prices, you won't be affected. Better still, you'll get automatic discounts over time through the effect of inflation. Plus, you'll continue to get more value from the solution over time as we continue to push out updates and new features to our platform, which you will not be paying any extra for. Train for Life is a guarantee we offer, whereby, as I mentioned, we will train up your solution champion as part of our implementation, which is free of charge. But if they leave, if they're replaced, if they're promoted, if they retire, whatever it may be, we will train up their replacement free of charge. And we'll continue to do this for the entire length of time that you're a customer. This will avoid the situation I mentioned earlier when your solution champion leaves the organization and leaves a gap in knowledge on your service desk. No contract tie-in. We want happy customers, not contractually bound customers. And for that reason, we allow you to terminate your contract at any time for any reason. This goes back to my first point around quality not compromise as part of our core values. Customers often ask me why don't we have any contract tie-in, and it's quite simple. It forces Hornbill to offer a great value, quality service, otherwise our customers could simply walk away. So how much does it cost? We offer a simple, scalable pricing model which starts at £42.50 per user per month. There's a volume discount, so the more users you have, the lower the unit cost. Here's just a selection of some of our customers that have already migrated to Service Manager. As you can see, they come from various industries and sectors. Two that I wanted to mention in particular, firstly Aylesbury Vale District Council, who migrated from Supportworks to Service Manager in 2015. This was part of their drive to move to an infrastructure-free environment. You'll be interested to know they actually won the Best Small Service Desk Award at the SDI event in April. iDocs are a supplier of software and services to the UK public sector. They also moved to Service Manager in 2015 following a migration from Supportworks. One of their key concerns was the migration of historical call data from Supportworks. As you can see from the quote from Martin, we actually transferred over 10,000 records for them over the course of a weekend. So just to wrap up now, as a Supportworks customer, we'll go over and beyond the free of charge trial and implementation that I mentioned earlier by actually migrating over your call data if you wish. We will also credit back any unused support and maintenance from Supportworks once you start subscribing to Service Manager. You will qualify as long as you're an existing customer with an active contract. If you do wish to move forward, please do let your relationship managers know as soon as possible and we can discuss your requirements. There is limited availability as we are experiencing extremely high demand. It's worth noting we are considering phasing out the free of charge migration service, so I would advise please do let your relationship managers know as soon as possible if you are interested. So I hope everyone's enjoyed the session today. Thank you very much for your time. We've received a number of questions which we will address now.
Yes, I'm very conscious of time. Like I can see it just takes time to 11, so we do have a few good questions, but just in case we don't get to your question, we will get back to you. Do you get some business process pre-set up out of the box, or do you have to start from scratch? There are some business process set up out of the box, but obviously we will help you during that free implementation that Manish mentioned. That 30-day trial is obviously to go through this with you. The focus will be giving you the knowledge to be able to go away and build what you want moving forward, obviously tweak anything that we have built during that switch on. There are a few examples, but it's we will help you build them anyway. Regarding the stopwatch, is it possible to allocate costs to different types of resources and then run calculations using costs and time allocated tasks? You can allocate different times to different types of resources using categories, but there's no cost function. There's no financial functionality at the moment. I will feed it back, but potentially, obviously, if you know this person from this team has spent this long doing that thing and it's that much an hour, you could probably work it out as well, but that's not in the tool at the moment. But as I say, I will feed it back. We like what we've seen. Gosh, lots of questions. We like what we've seen, but do have concerns about what we can actually achieve out of the box. There still looks like a lot of data imports required to set up and a lot of configures required. How quickly could we get up and running? Well, we will try. We will do everything we can to get you up and running within those 30 days. I'll be honest, I've taken a few switch-ons and they get less and less each time. The first one was quite a big one. I'll be honest, it did involve migrating all their Supportworks data across, which is absolutely fine. We'll do that as part of the migration as well. But I'll be honest, it's a very, very intuitive system. Once we point you in the right direction, most customers can just pick it up within a couple of weeks. So you might not even need the full 30 days, but we will endeavour to get you up and running within the first 30 days. And again, we'll do that for free. So at the end, you can then take a choice whether you want to carry on or not. The imports will import from AD. We'll set up a scheduled import from AD. Single sign-on if you want to, and obviously a scheduled import from your system management tool. And if you want to move your Supportworks data across, we can import from your Supportworks as well. So yeah, apologies if I made it sound complicated, but it's really not that complicated at all. There's probably 3 imports if you want them all, and obviously we will help you with that during the free implementation anyway. How long does it take to migrate, move to Service Desk Manager? Again, we will try and do that within 30 days. Is it possible to do a direct migration from Supportworks 7.5? Absolutely. It will be the database. We just need to import directly from the Supportworks database. Is the per user cost based on analysts or user base?
I'll tell you one, Connor. So it's a named analyst subscription. So this is for your analysts only, people who are logging tickets. Your end users who are logging onto the self-service portal, that is unlimited and completely free of charge.
Fantastic. We've overrun a tiny bit. I do have a few more questions, but as I say, I'll get back to you. Well, anybody whose question we haven't answered, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Connor and Manish, for taking us through that presentation. I hope everyone found it useful. If you have any additional questions, please do not hesitate to contact me or your relationship manager. Finally, thank you everyone for your time today. Goodbye.